Welcome to Party Yeah, the show that brings all BTS-related news, information, discussion topics, and more every Wednesday. I'm Taylor.
I'm Mariah.
I'm Tola.
And we are bringing Party Yeah. And today we're going to talk about who we are, what we want, what we're here for, why we made this podcast. And we're also wanting to talk about Jungkook's new album, Golden. And we'll complete our personal song ratings and album highlights. Thank you for joining us for this episode.
All right, so you're all probably wondering who we are, and more importantly, why we decided to create this podcast. So that being said, this is the best time we should introduce each member of Party Yeah and provide some insight into our connection to BTS/ARMY, as well as tell our stories. So I guess to start and kick off our first question and answer for our first episode, I feel like the most appropriate question is, who had the idea to start this podcast and why?
That would be me, Taylor. So I came up with the idea of the podcast because I fell in love with BTS, obviously, and am an ARMY. And I know that I just had lots to talk about. I was listening to other people's podcasts, and I just felt like every time I was listening to them, I just had so many thoughts and ideas and things I wanted to add. And a lot of times, I would always just be talking about just content that was coming out with Mariah and Tola and anybody else that would listen, any other fans and stuff. So I just thought that getting it all out in a podcast would be just a great way to connect with other fans. And so I talked to Mariah and Tola into joining with me, and they were totally for it. So
yeah, when you came to me with the idea, I was just like, heck yeah, let's do it. We already do this, in our daily lives anyway. Every conversation we have, it's like, oh, what's the new BTS, episode or music or album or whatever that comes out, that content that comes out that week. So we might as well.
Yeah.
It was definitely at the point too where we had our little group message, but it just didn't have a name. So I think when this podcast came along, it was the perfect opportunity to actually give this little platform of BTS-related discussions a title. So thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess Tola, you can answer the next one. So why did you come to love BTS? What started your journey with BTS?
So background, I guess I am a multi-stan, which means I like a hodgepodge of different artists across the board. And I stumbled upon BTS in 2014, tail end of 2014, maybe beginning of 2015, because I was also heavily in my GOT7 hole. And if you know that their friendship was just literally, we were getting fed every day. We was eating. Yeah. It was good. It was scrumdiddlyumptious. And because of those interactions and just how genuine that friendship was, I fell in love with the boys. I was like, okay, I really want to know more about these people. I want to know what makes them them. Started listening to music, and I guess the rest is how I got here.
Yeah. You definitely, I think I was the next in line to kind of discover BTS. So since Tola, you were into K-pop in general, you're over the course of years we've known each other, you've tried to, get me to listen to it. And I'm always like, no, I don't want to listen to it or whatever, being very apprehensive about it. And then I don't know what happened, but this was maybe months before COVID hit. I started to listen to more of XO. I think XO is what I listened to first. And then I got into BTS right after that. But I watched more content of BTS, so I deep dived into BTS. And that's when I fell in love with the boys and like their personalities. Run BTS really helped me like understand, just the K-pop culture, and like just how funny, the boys were and everything like that. So definitely Tola, you pushed me, towards that direction, and then I just, fell in the hole.
I'll admit, like the shit, because these two, like we've all lived together in undergrad, college. Like these are the homies. I would be slipping those music videos in like strategically. I'm like,
Right?
get them. I will get them eventually. Okay.
Literally, you could be like doing the most random thing, and Tola will come in with a NCT music video or EXO music video. I'm like, did you see this? Monster X. Like,
I
good
mean, you
thing
don't like
that
this
Tola,
one.
she's like a multi-stan, so like we got to see a whole array of different boy bands and girl bands before we stand and became an army of BTS. So definitely opened up our minds. What about you, Tay?
So yeah, so I got started through Mariah. Uh, she was the one that came to me to my apartment and was like showed me a picture of BTS and asked me to pick out which one I thought was the most attractive. And I was like, I don't know who these guys are, but I picked out found out later that I picked out Taehyung. But yeah, I was
Hilarious.
like,
I gotta set up the story though, so they know what we're
okay,
talking about.
okay, okay,
So basically, I got into them and I started buying all my albums, and I bought "You'll Never Walk Alone." So everyone knows like that photo book, Chef's Kiss, and that's the photo book I gave Tay to like pick out, any member that you just find the most attractive, and that's when she picked out Taeyong. So
yes. So yeah, didn't know anything, just was like, yeah, he's attractive. And yeah, so I think some time had passed. I know you'd started to then like play some of the music for me, like when we were in the car and stuff, and we're trying to slip some more like BTS content towards me. But then I finally like started listening on my own one day. I was like, all right, I need to find something new to listen to. And so I was like, all right, let me pull up this BTS that Mariah keeps trying to get me into. And yeah, I started listening on my own. I even like text her, like, I was like, hey, guess what? I'm listening. And um yeah, I quickly started to love the music, quickly then was like, okay, I got to know more about these guys. So then I started to look up things like different interviews that they did and different content that they were doing. I think I watched a bunch of like compilation videos of different things that fans would make, and was starting to really like go down that rabbit hole pretty quickly. Um,
yeah.
and
I
then
feel
Mariah came over with the Love Yourself, Speak Yourself from the Memories 2019 box, and had me watch that. She's like, okay, now you listen to music, here's a concert. And so we sat and watched it, and that like I think solidified like I love just like watching them perform in this concert. And like I was like, okay, yep, I'm in love. So then I know she started sending me things like Run BTS and just yeah, I was
All the content.
after that. I was gone. I was army after that.
I feel like one of the best ways to get somebody into a group, BTS specifically, is to show like just their sense of humor to other people because you have to identify with at least one of
Yeah.
the members.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
agree. I think if I would have just heard the music solely, I probably wouldn't dove as deep into the fandom as I did if I was just
Mhm.
listening to music. Like, I think it's a whole culture, like a whole, like family with it. So just being a part of something too, like even going to concerts or
Mhm.
just us three, having like fellowship about this one particular thing brings like people closer. You have a feeling of like belonging, with this fandom.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes.
So, all right. So fun question.
Mm-hmm.
When was when was your favorite BTS air? So that could be like, the air, the album, whatever, but just your favorite moment, a period of time of BTS.
I think my favorite has to have been most beautiful moment in
Yeah,
life.
that's a good one.
Into Wings. I feel like just like that whole execution everything tying together, the
Mhm.
storytelling, the suspense, the dramatics, the cinematography, I could literally go on.
Yeah.
That's like the point. Even each and every one of those songs on all of those albums, and I'm counting like part one, part two, and Wings, I don't think I hated any of them. Like, and I don't, when I say hate, like least favorite,
Yeah.
most favorite, but they were literally all just like 5 out of 5s in my mind. That
Yeah,
was
so good.
it was a golden era for me.
Yeah. I would say mine's was definitely Love Yourself. I think that's the first concert I watched. It was like the first album I got. Um, and it just it's the message behind it was like truly at that moment what I needed. And so I think that was just it will always, be so relatable to me and resonate with me because of I was going through a tough time. I think everyone was going through a tough time, with COVID and everything. But that message of loving yourself really hit hard during that moment of 2020. So definitely my favorite era.
I agree.
Yeah, and yeah, I would definitely say the Love Yourself era was my favorite as well. Mostly just yeah, because it was the first concert that I watched, and it was also just most of the music was like a lot of the music I started diving into the most when I was discovering their music. I was like a lot of those songs I was like, oh, yep, I love this one, I love this one, I love this one, and it all came from like pretty much that Love Yourself era first, and then everything else usually after that. But
Yeah. Wings definitely hits hard though.
Can I add a little something to my original statement with that
Yeah.
whole most beautiful moments in Wings era? Because I like how you guys said like what those eras taught you. And
Hmm.
for those eras, for you guys, it was the self-love aspect and learning to appreciate and love yourself and
hmm
acknowledge everything you're doing. For my era, I feel like it taught me to value friendship and unity and community because through that whole like era they were walking with each other, like they were searching
Mm.
for each other, they were like
Yeah.
displaying brotherhood in a sense.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
it was like, oh shoot, I have like all these people around me, like that's my community, that's like my little family type.
Mm. Yeah. That was definitely a really good era. Um, okay. So I know me and Ted, we talked about kind of our first concert that we watched, which was the
hmm
Love Yourself, Speak Yourself. Um, have Tola, what was the first concert you watched? And then I guess question to everyone, have you ever attended a group or solo concert?
Okay, so first concert I watched, I honestly don't. I think it had to have been with you, Mariah, the one that you had on box set. Was it the Love Yourself concert?
Was it Love Yourself, Speak Yourself? Yeah,
I
it
think
probably
it
was because that was
was.
the first concert I bought.
I think then that was probably the first one I watched because what I will say is I've watched like snippets from different ones, but like
Yeah.
I don't think before that I'd ever watched it fully through.
Yeah. Yeah, such a good concert.
Yeah.
Um, and then over time I've like bought all the, other ones that I could buy. And I think we've watched several of those together too. So, but live concerts though. So Tay, you want to talk about kind of your experience with live concerts?
Mariah and I have got to go to the um, Permission to Dance concert in Las Vegas, and with that one we had watched the online one for when they did it in Seoul. We saw the online one for when they did it in Los Angeles, and just when they heard that they were doing another one, we had totally missed the deadline to get concert tickets, but I came back and was like, we need to go to the Vegas one. I was determined. I was bound and determined to be like, we need to go to Vegas. And so I figured out everything that we needed to get to this concert, and yeah, so I was able to make it happen.
Yeah, when you sent me the text like, "Do you want to go to this concert?" I'm like, "Heck yeah, let's do it." Like, I was a little apprehensive at first because of the pricing of the tickets. Like, we all know resale crazy, but like it was totally worth it. So we got to go
Yeah.
to the Vegas one, and I I will never like regret that. We were literally in Vegas like less than 24 hours. Hands down, best concert in my life.
I'm
Yes.
jealous because I know Taylor reached out to me too, but my schedule one, no in my pockets too. So, girl,
Yeah.
get your life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
it
know
was
by the
expensive.
time when it came down to like planning it, it was just like we had so little time, so it was kind of like it just had to
Plus,
work
I've
out.
been playing Carmen San Diego, so I need to figure out what I'm doing so I can hopefully get some tours in come 2025.
Yes, when they come back, we are
Yeah.
in there. No matter how much it costs, we
Yes.
will be in a
We in their
concert.
face. They see us, we see them,
Yes.
okay?
Right.
Front and center that like I will get the sweat, the blood, sweat, tears
Let's play
from the
tears.
members. Yeah.
And I got to go to a second concert, which was the Sugar August Detour. And sadly, I told Mariah we're not able to go with me. That would have been the only thing that would have made it better. I had so much fun though at the concert. I had no complaints whatsoever. I loved every single second of it. But yeah, I look forward to us being able to all go together for a 2025 concert.
All right. So next question would be who was your first ever bias? So like when you initially started getting into BTS, who was your bias? And if that changed, who is now your current bias? And then who is your bias wrecker? Tay, you want to go first?
Sure. Okay. So my initial bias was Jin. Um, I couldn't tell you really necessarily why. I just remember like he was the one that I was drawn to the most. I think partially
Mm-hmm.
looks for sure. But yeah, he was, and I think he was just the one that stood out to me at the time. Um, but definitely it quickly switched to OT7 as my now bias.
Yeah. What made you go from Gen to OT7?
Just be once I started to dive down the rabbit hole of BTS content and started to learn about the different personalities and each member, I quickly just fell in love with like different things about each of them, and so it wasn't just Jin anymore. It was all of them. So yeah, now I definitely can't pick anymore. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and but I would say lately my bias wrecker I would say is Jungkook. I don't know why, but he tries to come in as my bias, and I tell him no. He has
He
to
has
stay
that thing.
as it's staying as OT7 as much as he's trying right now.
Yeah. He has that, especially right now, like with everything coming out with him.
Yes.
He's just chef's kiss.
Hmm.
Okay, what about you, Tol?
So I feel like I'm somewhat similar to Tay, but a little different. I feel like because it's been a while since I've been a stan, my biases kind of operate on a rotational basis. You know, like whoever eats the era more is
Right.
just gonna have to be the bias of the era because like I can't ignore like I see everybody else, but I can't ignore you.
Right.
So at the current moment, I feel like with everything kind of calmed down, my bias has been J Hope and it's also been Tay. I always feel like I have a vocal bias and then a rap line bias.
Yeah, I get that.
They like
When
hit differently.
when you first started though in the fandom, was it anybody else
It
or
was
was it?
definitely Tay. Like Tay was always there. The voice got me, the look got me, the smolder got like it was giving. And then the personality, strangely enough, because I know some people look at him and they like baby, but for me, I was like, no, I feel you, and we're vibing on that same wavelength, and I just feel like we
Mhm.
connect more because of that.
The
And then initially
smolder.
on the
It's a
rap line,
smolder.
it was Sugar, my sugar bear.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
feel like y'all probably have heard me talk about Sugar a lot at some point.
Yeah. I went from Namjoon initially because I think he's just the one that's like brought me in. Like, okay, I remember his face the most, and then it was Suga, and then I was just like Team Suga all the way.
Sugar bear.
But then And I know you said this, Tola, like a long time ago. You're like, you're sleeping on
I
J-Hope. You're
told you
sleeping
you
on
sleeping on Jay. I'm
J-Hope.
getting mad. No, people stop. You stop because I told her. She's like, I'm just not really feeling him or whatever. I said, just wait on it. She's like, no, you don't know what you're talking about.
I
You
sure
crazy.
did.
Look, I said, girl, no, you gonna be a fan. Just wait. And she
Yeah.
really looked at me like I was crazy until she comes back acting all brand new, like she been that J
I'm
Hope
like,
fan.
oh, J-Hope. Okay. Okay, Hobie. Okay.
It's the
And
way I
then
wanted to throw hands immediately.
hey, I made it to the promised land. So it became a rap line real quick, especially
Mhm.
when Hobie was doing a lot of the PTD era. I don't know, it was something about that. He had like white hair, especially during Swozu. Was it white or yeah, I think it was like this platinum
Yeah,
hair. And
like
I'm
the
like,
platinum.
he was just killing it during that era. Everyone was sleeping on Hobie during that era, I swear. But anyway, so rap line was definitely like my bias line. But just over time too, especially with people's like solo albums and all that stuff, like I'm definitely OT7 now. There's no, you know, boy that I like more than the other, and I'm team all of them. So that's my progression of
We just let the
biases.
era decide at this point.
What did you say?
So you just have to let the era decide at this point.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be ever changing. Like literally, I think it's on a rotational basis, just of who's out at the moment. Like with Jungkook doing his, golden album. Right now he's killing it. So he's my bias right now. I'm team, Cookie. So just every so often, I think it will change definitely. So I guess top 3 to 5, or you don't have 3 to 5, that's fine too. Top BTS songs.
Okay, so and I'm opening up my Apple Music to help me
Need a list.
think in this. I already know off the top of my head for one that hip hop file. I'm very much like an old school, like I
Yeah.
loved their
Throwback.
first few albums, especially like their school era, their kids
Mm-hmm.
at school. It might have just been called their school era.
School
They
Love Affair.
they just
Yeah.
they understood these like even before that too. Even in No, when they put Sugar in that little puffy, feathery jacket that I questioned with the baseball cap, but they still ate the song up. Like that the era is just untouchable. So let me go ahead and put No on the list too.
Okay.
We'll take two oldies.
Everybody say.
No. Doom, doo, 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 doo. I'm crumping right now. You can't see it, but it's happening. And
Hilarious.
then my last song that I can think of is probably we, we gonna go ahead and give it to be determined. Come back to me on this one.
Okay. I would say mine, definitely Home. I feel like people sleep on Home. It's so underrated. Home is so good on the Map Soul Persona album.
Hmm.
Um, I would definitely say Not Today.
Oh
That
no,
song
not
gets me so
today.
hyped.
It does.
No, not today.
Choreography 8.
Right? The
Backup
choreography is
dancers
just like
8.
Yeah.
A1. It's just so good. Um, Number 3, let's do Black Swan.
Oh yeah.
Elegance, very poetic to me. I'm gonna do 5 actually. So 4 will probably be Silver Spoon.
Okay.
I think that's just everyone's like, you know, top 5, I feel like.
That's a good one.
Um, and number 5, Epiphany. That one
Ooh.
makes me cry a lot.
Okay.
So more on
Okay.
the sad side, Epiphany.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. Definitely have to say number one will be Fake Love.
Mm-hmm.
Such a good one.
Yes. Number two is Black Swan.
Okay.
Um, it's a little harder to rank after that. I know those two for sure are like top two. I would say Magic Shop.
Okay, yeah.
Mic Drop,
Okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
and 0 o'clock.
So Love Yourself album.
Pretty much. Hey,
Love Yourself
no, 0 o'clock is on 7.
Immaculate Soul album.
I'm gonna
I,
change
I
up
said
my.
I said Love Yourself was my era, so like I said.
Yeah, makes sense. Make It Right is really
That's
good.
fair. That
Yeah.
is fair.
Immaculate.
I'm gonna change up my list a little bit, but it's not going to be in any type of order because that's gonna take a lot of thought. But on the list is We On and Hip
Oh,
Hop
so good.
Mhm.
and Hip Hop File. We love Dionysus. We're
Yeah,
gonna
that's
also
good.
add Spring Day because that gives me every like I
Yeah,
can envision myself looking out a window while I'm on the train too with the
right.
single teardrop like streaming down my face. Like I got the backstory ready and down. And then lastly, because I was 4, I will give it to Fire, even though it got to the point where I was so tired of seeing them perform it. And I know they were so tired of performing it. They ate every single time. Like I
Every
could never
time.
eat Fire. I could never get like over it.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, that's why they perform it all the time, because it's just so good. And I want to add, and I know I'm going on like probably 6, 7. Just One Day, also fire.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I like it. So, and it's just, or I like, it's just so many,
There's a lot of good ones.
yeah,
Yeah.
so many to
Yeah.
choose from.
When
Can't
you
even
said
choose
silver
top 5.
when you mentioned Silver Spoon, I was like, ooh, that's a good one too. I mean, I
Yeah,
could just keep going and going and going.
right. Going
I'm just
on and on and on. So those were songs. Do we have like a favorite music video?
Ooh. I feel like Not Today is definitely in my top 5.
Mm,
As we talked about before, like there was just something about the choreography, the inspirational vibes that it gave. Like I felt energized to like go outside and do something knowing I had nothing to do. But
yeah,
that it's up there because of that feeling.
yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. I
I think
really
when you
like
were mentioning, oh, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say I really liked the Euphoria music video because I really liked that like that was like really cute one where they're all together and they're running out of like the hospital together and it's just like it's such that like cute like seeing them all together and banding together and stuff. I really liked. I think it's just such a cute music video.
Yeah, I was gonna say Spring Day. It just
Very
had so much like I feel like meaning, impact, like worldwide in a
mhm.
sense of like just making people aware what's going on or
Hmm.
what went on, you know. So Spring Day definitely. It's my
Also
top 5.
Pro and what was it, Boys in Love? Boy in Love.
Boy in Love.
Thinking of the one that's like hello, 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 hello.
Hello.
I wish
Mm.
you know what I'm talking about? But
Yeah.
the cinema the cinematography of it, like the what was it, the filter that they use, it reminded me of like, I don't know, like Wild West type aesthetic without being Wild West, just like the filter of the
Mm,
music video screen. You know how the colors were pretty much blurred out except for maybe like Jungkook's red outfits or Jimin's red sweater or whatever he was wearing. I liked that
mm,
one.
is it that one?
What I might not be saying the correct song, but
I know what song you're talking about because I'm literally
right.
thinking it in my head. But
Let me
yeah.
see.
So yeah, I think I mean they're all, they're all of their music videos are so like
War of Hormone.
visual. You said what?
War of Hormone. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, makes sense. Yeah, now I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one. All of their visuals are just like impeccable, like
Mhm.
just beautiful. So choreography, like just hands down, on and off stage, in the music videos, they're just always, putting 110%. And that's what, I love about them. It's so engaging. Some artists will just, stand on stage or the music videos are like boring, but BTS, they're always like on it. Love it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that wraps up this segment. of the episode. But every episode, we would love to share your BTS Army stories or answer any questions you may have for us. So if you do hashtag BTS Army Stories, you can submit your stories via Twitter at PPY underscore podcast or via Gmail at BTS Party Party Yeah and Co. That's BTS Party Party Yeah ANDCO at gmail.com. We would love to, answer any questions or, dive into your interesting stories that you have as well. We will also link our Instagram and our Twitter in the description below.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to our very first segment of the podcast and one we hope to see continue called Oh, Are You Late to the Album? Clever, right? So, this is a segment where we take a past or present album by BTS or the individual members and list each song from our most to least favorite. Please note, these are our personal opinions, and although it is undeniable that BTS makes great music, some songs may not hold equal standing to their album counterparts, at least in our opinion, and that's okay. So before we start, I'm curious to know which songs you guys believe top each other's list. So I want to see how well, we kind of know each other.
Yeah.
So for me, I thought the top of Taylor's list would be Too Sad to Dance. And even though the lyrics are kind of like, dang, it's somewhat of a like preppy-ish uplifting song. I don't know. I just felt like this is something that I can see Taylor like bopping her head to and just really enjoying and loving it. Mariah, on the other hand, I thought that I don't know why I said it like that. I'm sorry. I thought Mariah would really enjoy like the very suave, what is it called? I don't know. They were giving like not EDM. I'm sorry. They were giving like house and R&B ish type tones and neo funk groove type things. So for you, I thought that you would like Please Don't Change.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Pretty good. Okay. So I guess we're doing what we thought each other would like. Tay, I initially thought you would like Yes or No. It was giving kind of what you were saying, Tola, like upbeat, like guitar feeling, like maybe like 2000, like mid 2000s, like 2010, 2011 vibes. So I thought Tay you would like that one. And then Tola, I was thinking, I was going back and forth with this, but maybe like a Closer to You vibe. It was kind of more of like had a good beat to it. You could dance to it. Um, More upbeat. So those are my guesses.
Okay.
Okay, so my guess for you two. Let's see, for Mariah, I would say the Standing Next to You.
Mm.
And just and for Tola, I had Closer to You.
Okay.
Okay. So did anybody get anything right?
So for me, should I just go through my ranking?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
So
do that.
yeah, my number one was yes, Standing Next to You. Love the funk. Love,
Mhm.
like it was giving like Michael Jackson. It was giving like saxophone, guitar, bass, drums, like a whole six-piece set, and I loved it. Every moment of it. And then Seven was my second. I know this one came out, a little bit earlier than all the rest, but we still counted it in our ranking. Seven was just something different. Like it was still him, but it was just so surprising to me, like who he featured with Lotto. Didn't see that coming at all, and he killed it. Chef's kiss. Um, Third was Please Don't Change. So I think you guessed No,
Yeah, that was my
don't
guess
change.
for you.
Yeah, please don't change. So I definitely love that one too. Upbeat, can dance to it. It sounded like him. It's kind of like the path that I wanted him to go into a little bit more. But I know this album was kind of bringing, different different sides of him, and but he didn't also like write any of the music. He's kind of like did had people do things for him, and he like sung. I don't know how much of production he was in, but I know it wasn't as much as some of the other boys when they were doing their solo albums. Um, Closer to You was my fourth. Same thing, upbeat. It's lower on my list because I feel like the beat just never dropped as hard as I wanted it to drop. Like I felt like in the chorus the beat should have dropped a little bit more, but they ended up dropping it at the end of the song. That makes sense. So like the beat drop that I wanted was at the end of the song, and they only did like 20 seconds or 30 seconds at the end, and then it was over. I'm like, we should have had that a long time ago. So that was the only thing that didn't put that one higher up on the list. And then my fifth favorite was Shot Glass of Tears. I really enjoyed that one. I thought it showcased his voice, but also like it didn't seem like a cover song to me. Like I think the other ones that didn't make the list seemed more like a cover song. Like I said, I don't know how much he was involved with the production and writing and all that stuff, but I just felt like the ones I've listed sounded like him.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe he had some influence in the song. So, yeah, that was my list. What about you guys?
Okay, so I too have made my list. Um, so number one on my list was actually Standing Next to You. I
Mm,
was absolutely like floored by this song, loved it. It not only transported me back to a past nostalgia and sweeter times, but I guess it created this feeling that just generated happiness, and it was like that neo funk R&B
yeah.
just I thought the only thing that could make this song better is if in a month he says, "Hey, there's a remix and it's with The Weeknd."
Oh, I could see that. Or Bruno
Right,
Mars.
because that song is just like it's that vibe. It's a very like chill, suave, like I am here to let you know, like, hey baby, I look good type of song. Okay,
I can
that's
definitely see it though with Bruno Mars more than The Weeknd. I don't know.
too debatable. That could be debated. I don't know, but yeah, so that's how I felt with Standing Next to You. And I also want to say that the vocal range he displayed was insane to me. I
Right?
feel like he ate, he cleared the plate, the trumpeters ate, the backing vocalist ate. It just it was it was a lot. So that's why that was number one. It was a great song.
Mm.
Next for me was Yes or No. Um I'm not gonna lie, like I had to click back for a secon because and
Was
maybe
Ed
this might
Sheeran?
just be me. So, did you say Ed Sheeran?
Did you think it was Ed Sheeran?
Girl, I had to re-click the song to say Ed. And that's not even because Ed Sheeran is a phenomenal vocalist, so there's like no shade or anything in that direction. But I was just like, he was channeling so many different avenues of singers and whatnot. I was just very impressed at how different he can like change the vibe of each of the songs that he went
Yeah.
through.
But
So,
did it feel like a cover song to you? That's what was like
um,
Ed produced it, wrote it, and then was like, "Hey, can you sing it
wait,
for me?"
Ed did produce it and write it?
I don't know, but that's what it sounded like, you know?
I will say at first it did, but I think as the song progressed, it didn't necessarily feel like that anymore.
Mm,
It
okay.
kind of just felt like, oh, okay, like I understand where he's coming from. I understand the message that he wants this song to like give. So
Mhm.
it didn't resonate that feeling anymore. I think once I got past the initial like shock, I was like, okay, no, no,
Yeah.
no, I'm here. I'm with this. It's good. So I am curious to know though if Ed had any hands in helping with the production or anything of that song.
Yeah.
My next song was Somebody. That was another top tier song for me. I just thought it was such a sweet message. In all
Mhm.
honesty, it's just like you don't think that there's anyone there, but like, hey, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
How
I
are
had
you?
yeah, it had a good message to it. The first 20 seconds, though, I had to double check too to see if that was somebody else because it was like, what the
Who are you? Was that Jason Derulo?
no, it had no feature on it, but it was, so I'm assuming it was him, but it did not sound
No,
like,
I'm saying, is that who it like gave? Is
oh
that what it
yeah,
reminded
yeah,
you of?
definitely. Some type of like auto tune, like, yeah, it just did not sound like him.
I will say I did feel like it was a little heavier on the autotune, but I wasn't mad at it per
Mhm.
se.
Like
You
it
know,
was like intentional auto tune.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes. Because we I feel like through the ages, especially when autotune first hit the scene, if you weren't T-Pain, you weren't doing it right.
right.
It has since progressed, and I
Okay.
feel like it wasn't too heavy as sometimes can happen in K-pop where it washes out
Mhm.
an artist's voice, but
Yeah.
I didn't think it was too bad. So after Somebody, my song was actually Please Don't Change. Um,
Mm.
I really did like that song, not as much as the other three that were previously mentioned, but I don't know. I just felt like it was a nice swab bop, and I couple that with Closer to You because I feel like they were giving the same type of feeling.
Energy. Yeah, I agree.
Energy, you're in the club, you're just swaying and dancing and having a good time. Like that's kind of what they were giving to me. Um, I did like Too Sad to Dance. Although it was just a little bit too, I don't know. I feel like it was a little too confusing for me because I'm like, do I need to be sad or do I need to be having a good time with this
Yeah,
song?
I think that's the beauty of it, though. It was like
Yeah,
giving upbeat, but also talking about being depressed.
most
So,
definitely. But it's like I felt guilty
yeah,
having a good time. And I'm like, okay, okay. You know what? I felt better with the other songs. So I'm gonna place you here. I like it, but I don't know. I feel like it probably wasn't my favorite song on the album. Followed by that, Shot Glass of Tears, just it wasn't for me. Honestly, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it at the same time. Same goes with Hate You. So,
yeah,
you know.
those are definitely my bottom two, bottom three. Or it was
Mm.
Hate You, Too Sad, To Dance was my least favorite, and then Shot Glass I think was my number five or something.
And I'll be honest, my least favorite song on the album was actually 3D.
Really.
I'm honestly not a fan of it.
It was
Yeah.
giving, it was giving like late 2000s, I mean early 2000s, that's what I'm trying to say. It's giving like 2000s, maybe like 2001 Backstreet Boy and Sync, old
Yeah.
school like pop. That's what I was getting from that, but I thought it was pretty good. It's probably in the middle of my ranking.
I honestly don't know if I'm a fan of the Jack Harlow cookie combo. Maybe
Mm,
I'm just over this hype of Jack Harlow because I personally don't understand it,
mm.
but I don't know.
Yeah, he's a whole nother, realm of, I guess, type of music. It's like you hate him or you love him. I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't make bad music, but it's just
Mhm.
I'm like I don't know. Maybe I probably liked the other features that he had on there, like the
Yeah,
two Major Laser and who was the other track maker that
DJ
was
Snake.
on there? DJ Snake. They put their feet in
Yes,
the
so
heat.
good,
Okay.
so
The
good.
only thing that could have made it better, Cookie, if you listening, K Tronada, hit that man up, please. All
Yeah.
right, Taylor.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I didn't want to contribute because I didn't want to give away my list. So,
Mhm.
but okay. So my number one was actually Please Don't Change. I
Okay.
picked this one just because like it was I really liked the upbeatness of it. I thought it just fit his voice really well. I don't know,
Mhm.
just was one that I really liked. So that was my number one. My number two was Yes or No. Um, Same thing. It just the beat of it. I just felt like it was really good. I know it definitely played into that Ed Sheridan and thing. But yeah, so that was my number two. I actually gonna go different from you guys completely. Number three, my was Hate You. And the
Oh,
reason I
really?
really liked this one is because I really like some of those slower songs that really like showcase an artist's voice.
Mm.
And I felt like this was definitely in that for me was I could really like hear his voice and like really hear it come out in this song. And I just thought he did such a good job with it.
I
Um,
see that actually, because I feel like Tay, for you, you do appreciate ballads a lot more.
Mhm. Definitely.
yeah, so that was definitely like number three. Um, Number four was The Stand Next to You. I will say that one grew on me. It wasn't initially up there as high um,
It's
when I
good.
first went through the album. And as I like started to listen to it more and started to listen to all the songs again and kind of like kept going on repeat a little more, I was like, it climbed back up in the ranks. So,
Mm.
Yeah, so good.
and then number five uh, was Shot Glass Full of Tears. Again, it was a nice like slower song and again
Mhm.
showcased his voice really well. And I don't know, I just really it definitely just was something. It just spoke to me more. So I really liked that one. And yeah, I had 3D towards the bottom of my list here. I agree with you, Tola, on that one.
Yeah.
Um, I just wasn't a fan of with like Jack Harlow's part and stuff. And
I
um,
honestly didn't like how he ended the song either. I was like, you
yeah,
couldn't even end when the beat was still going, sir. That's just personal preference. Some people go crazy for that. Me, I'm not some people.
yeah, I agree. No, I agreed. I was like, wait, I was like, that's the end. Wait, is it's done? Okay.
It's just very abrupt. I will also say, I think for me personally, I don't want to be sad going into the winter months. And I think that's why some of those songs, like some of those ballads, were closer towards the bottom of my list
Mm,
versus the top. I feel like that's just like a personal thing for me. Like my taste and preference and like lyrics and music changes with the season,
Hmm.
hmm.
you know?
Yeah. I did
Yeah.
like the story he told, like,
Definitely.
being so infatuated with this person and like kind of falling in love with them and then just realizing like he would do anything for them and then all of a sudden he's like, I hate you.
Right.
Like, and now I'm sad. So
And
and
I'm like, I don't know if I'm built for this in the fall. Like,
literally a roller coaster ride. We had a whole relationship in like less than an hour, and now we're, having shot glasses full of tears.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious to see like what if he's gonna, do another album that's kind of following the same storyline, like the after effects of being sad, like maybe, going back into I don't know, loving himself again or like falling in love again or something like that. Um, or if he's just gonna switch up entirely and do a different, story arc. But I did like the story that he was, trying to put us on throughout the album.
so call me weird, but sometimes I like to think of albums as like a different universe in that artist's like music timeline. And I know we've seen that, like they do that at times with, their storytelling and stuff. But
Mhm.
for me, when you said, like, is he going to, like, what's the next stage after this album? Of course, we're
Mhm.
going through, like, at least some level of grief and thought and,
Mhm.
changing of feelings. Well, what's next? Is it recovery? Is it loving yourself? Is this like a sub, like, universe or
Mhm.
multiverse of the love yourself as a whole, like like main timeline MCU stuff, and then here we go, we got like a branch, just the cookie branch.
Yeah, I could
Think
see that.
that
I mean, definitely with too, like Sugar, he kind of is like,
he links it back sometimes, and I
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Okay, so does anybody have a ranking out of 5 for the album itself? For me, I'm putting this album at a 4 out of 5. I think it was a very strong debut album. I think he put his foot in literally every aspect of every song, whether it was to my taste or not. I think it was chef's kiss, as Mariah has been saying. And aesthetically, it's very simple, minimalistic, but at the same time, it's a very nice album cover. So I'll say that.
I agree. My ranking, I'm probably, and you guys might, I might get some flack for this. I'm at a 3. I'm very in the middle because,
Okay.
like, yes, we love him. Songs were excellent. Like,
Mhm.
but I feel like one, it wasn't him in a sense. I felt
Mhm.
like, and I could be, totally wrong, but it just didn't seem like he wrote anything or he was part of the actual production. Maybe he had final say in some things because just as an artist, you're not going to just sing something that someone just, gives you. But it didn't seem like he was in the making of everything. Like some of the other artists are, like the other boys, when they do their albums, like they're writing lyrics, they're producing tracks like with the producer, like they're part of like every step. And I just feel like this sounded a lot like a cover album on some of the songs. And so I feel like we could see more. And I hope we will see more. And I know what they're doing. Hybe is so smart. They're so smart. They put everything in English. They're trying to get this boy a Grammy, and he probably will get one. But I think that's why maybe they pushed it the way they pushed it, like all
And then
English
on top of
version.
that, the Western market factor.
Yeah, all English version. Like they're trying to get this boy a Grammy, and he deserves it. But like, is he compromising like kind of who he is because of that? That's what I'm like. I wish
So
the album maybe had Korean like lyrics, some Korean lyrics to it, or him being a part of the lyric making and the production of it. Like I want to know what that looks like.
So I quickly Googled a quick little article. And this is from economictimes.com just to get a little insight on this album. And I want to know if this changes anything for you.
Mm-hmm.
So it says, Golden also features an impressive lineup of collaborations with industry heavyweights. Notable names include Lotto and Seven, which we knew, Jack Harlow and 3D, DJ Snake and Please Don't Change, Ed Sheeran and Yes or No, Shawn Mendes and Hate You, and Major Lazer and Closer to You. So knowing these names and knowing how we were kind of associating them to some of these artists, does
Mm-hmm.
it support that cover?
Yeah, it's like a
It
cover
feels like
album.
a cover album.
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, I could like I said, I could get flack for it, but I want to see Jungkook do his lyrics, be part of production, not like write his full lyrics, but like be a part of that process. Um, I want to hear him singing Korean on a Korean K-pop artist album. Like I just don't want him to compromise everything we love so much about
Yeah.
him,
Yeah.
how we got into BTS and all that stuff, because he wants to, persuade the Western world. So maybe
Yeah.
after he gets his Grammy, he'll go back into, doing what we, fell in love with him for.
Well, going off of that too, I know he did talk about how like he wanted to try other types of music. So like, and some of that including more Western music, more or English-based songs. And then I know he even said he would love to try to dabble in like Latino music. So and I know with it being his solo album, like this would be the time for him to try some of that stuff because he's not going to have probably any very
Mhm.
little opportunity to try it once he's back together with BTS.
That's true. And what is music if not expression and trying new forms
Yeah.
Yeah.
of art? So, I mean, if this is to help him explore and figure out his niches, then I can support that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do see both sides of it, though.
Yeah, for sure.
It's
Yeah.
And it's
interesting.
still a great album, and we still
Mhm.
love him. That's just, I mean, my side of it. Like, is there more like to this? And you're right, it could be like just him in this era, kind of exploring his own thing. I feel like the other boys, when they did their solos, they explored like their own thing too, but mostly stuck with, things that we know them for. Like we maybe got different sides of them, but it
But
was
is
kind
that kind of different though? Because I feel like with the other boys, at least for Rap Line, I feel like we were far more familiar with their
of,
personal styles and, you know, ambiance and taste and whatever they put into their music because, you know, we got I feel like more of it than we got from Cookie.
yeah,
So it's like he's still in that discovery where with some of them they already
are established.
yeah.
But even like V, like we saw a whole different side of V. I mean, we knew that he was like that quirky, like soulful,
I
type.
knew, you know, that was known.
Yeah, but we didn't see it in music yet. And so we finally got it in a full album with him. So I don't know. I just expected more. I don't know. I don't know what
I
I
feel,
expected.
no,
But overall, yeah, overall very good.
I feel like because with the other boys we knew what we expected. Even with V, I expected the soul, the hoof in that voice because even with his solos we've heard them.
Yeah.
It's like we knew most likely what we were going to get.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that being said, I definitely agree though with Mariah in the sense of like I do wish he had more, like he had stuck to some of his like Korean based like songs and
Yeah.
had it had more with like writing the lyrics and stuff too. Because I do think that was one thing I did feel kind of, yeah, like what Mariah, like you were saying, like the cover, like it was kind of like I just felt like I know like one of the things is that when they write their own music, you feel like how much like you feel that personal connection to that song because you know like hey, they wrote this song, this is coming from them. And I think that was one thing that did feel a little lacking in this, was that like even though like he was, again, he did amazing. And I guess I'll say my ranking was I would give it, I'm going, I want to say
4 out of 5.
uh, because of that, just because I think that was the only thing that was really lacking for me, is I feel like that more that personal connection to the songs. Um, but I feel like he did amazing with the songs that he like singing them and lyrically everything. Like I think he
Yeah.
did really well. So
Yeah, overall, really, really good. And maybe if you guys want to, listeners, if you guys want to hear us talk about, everyone else's solo albums, let us know. You can either, DM us on Twitter or on
Use the hashtag.
Instagram. Yeah, use the hashtag. Um, or you can email us again at btspartypartyandco@gmail.com. And we can dive in a little bit into the other boys' solo albums too. All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap up the podcast, very first episode. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And we look forward to growing with each and every member of the squad. We do want to talk about, Jungkook's upcoming promotions. I know he's going to be on Jimmy Fallon pretty soon. And there's also some secret main events. Hopefully we get to dive into that a little bit more next week. When it comes to uploading, we're still, figuring things out, but hopefully Wednesdays you'll get to hear our beautiful voices. And we are looking forward to, getting closer with you guys. You can reach out to us on Twitter and Instagram at ppy_podcast. Also at Gmail, btspartypartyandco@gmail.com. Again, that's btspartypartyandco@gmail.com. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.